And this week's rumor mill, we cannot escape the juggernaut that Fallout has become again. Also, Dead Space 2 is likely in for some bad news, if you want to believe the rumors, and Amazon is being pretty nice to comic book nerds, it would seem. So all of that and a little bit more, let's talk about rumors, shall we?
Maybe. It's classified.
Hello nerds, and welcome to the Rumor Mill. You have found the appropriate cheat code to get to the news before it becomes news. Here we will discuss rumors in the pop culture and nerdy realm of things, then we will discuss the probability that those rumors are legitimate, and then finally probably a little bit of my own personal speculation. If you want the more concrete news that has already become news, then there is a full news show over on the main channel called The Week in Nerddom, which you can find linked down in the description, as well as at the end of this video. Now, let's see what all of those rumor mongers have to say, and which of them are just plain full of poop. Starting things off, we have confirmations to get out of the way, because we got a couple of them right. That's right, we did! We already talked about in the movies, but we're gonna go over it real quick. We have Transformers versus G.I. Joe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, and the sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's, all of which were given very high likelihoods here on the channel to be legitimately happening, and they have all been recently announced to actually be happening. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back a little bit, and we're gonna move right along. We don't have any new sources for old rumors. We just got new rumors. So let's get into these, shall we? First up is another Fortnite crossover. This time Fallout apparently is who they're going to be crossing over, which seems okay, sure, why not? It's a platform at this point, right? So why not just build a version of Fallout in Fortnite? Wouldn't that be freaking crazy? But this is kind of an interesting situation because Fallout tried to do with 76, they tried to do a battle royale mode with Fallout 76 and it didn't go over so hot. So maybe this is the way to do it, I don't know. But yeah, at this point with the Fortnite leaks, I'm pretty sure all of the Fortnite leaks we've talked about have come to fruition, so there's no point in giving it a low score. So we're looking at about 90% likely, and that's being rather conservative at this point. Our next one has to do with Thunderbolts. We did just talk about CinemaCon and in the movie section, and that did happen last week. And when they did the Thunderbolts presentation with Disney, there was a little asterisk, and Kevin Feige said that they would talk about what that asterisk means after the movie launches. So that has gotten the speculation going crazy in the rumor mill. The most legitimate rumor that I could find that has to do with what that asterisk implies is that everyone at the end of the movie is going to die. There has been some caveats carved out for Florence Pugh as well as Sebstian Stan, very potentially, because those two characters ostensibly could exist for much longer in this universe, provided they both sign on more contracts. I think Sebstian Stan's contract is probably up with this movie, so if he doesn't re-sign, then they'll kill him off. That's kind of a whole lot of speculation, though, on my part. And there's really not a lot to go on as far as like concrete evidence for this being potentially legitimate, and it comes from a rather bad source. But what with this being sold as the sequel to the Black Widow movie, Florence Pugh being very potentially the lead actor in the movie, it seems that at the very, very least, her character will survive because she's going to be continuing on the title of Black Widow, right? So that's why we're bumping this just barely over that halfway mark. We're gonna say 55% likely that that is the case, that is what that asterisk means, is that everybody's going to die, except for Florence Pugh. All right, so our next one has to do, it's another gaming rumor, though this one's a little bit weaker than we normally get for gaming, and it's Dead Space 2. Very little, and that's just wishful thinking, I think. So Dead Space 2 reportedly is now officially dead in the water. The lackluster sales, as reported by EA, who produced the remake of the first game, were not enough to justify a reboot. So the rumor says that the team that was going to be working on Dead Space 2, which was not going to be a remake of the original Dead Space 2, it was going to be a continuation of the remake of Dead Space 1, if that makes sense. Telling a different story than they told the first time through. So according to the rumor, the team that was going to be working on Dead Space 2 has been reassigned to Battlefield and the Iron Man project that we've talked about a number of times at this point on this channel. So normally, again, our video game sources are very, very good. This is a different gaming source, so not the same track record, but it seems pretty legit. So we're going 70% likely that we will not be seeing a sequel to the Dead Space remake, because that all makes sense, I promise. And then our next one has to do with Invincible. We have leaks purporting that Amazon has signed the Invincible animated series on up through season 5 already. They just have not made the official announcement yet. This actually comes from, this isn't a leak that we normally get from like a rumor monger or anything like that. This comes from there was a job listing. No. It was the announcement for the game. The announcement for the game had a job listing that, as part of the job listing describing the person they're looking for to work on the Invincible game, and somewhere in the vocabulary in there it said that there will be up to season 5 on the Amazon animated series. And then it was taken down rather quickly, so I was unable to get a screenshot of it, but that seems pretty freaking likely, considering even though there was 2 years between season 1 and season 2, we still have a pretty decent following. It's been in the top 10 on Amazon for since season 2 started. I don't think it's left, even with the 4 months in between the first half and second half. It's still in the top 10 over on Amazon. So yeah, that makes total sense. We're gonna say about 90% likely we will get up to season 5. Beyond that, very much shaky, but up to season 5, I would say we're looking about 90% likely that is legitimate. And then that's what we got for our regular rumors section. So let's get into a little bit of speculation. So this has to do with the Fallout TV series. I feel like the story that they're telling, I mean, going from the length of the games, if we're treating this like it were a game, we'd be going on this story for 20 seasons, 10 seasons at least. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm gonna put this out there. I think we will see confirmation of continuing Fallout through season 3. I think once we hit season 3, either they will start a new story or they'll just be done with the IP as far as live action TV goes. But we will get a season 3. It already has been announced for a second season. We talked about that last week. So I think we got one more season coming out of Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, and then past that, I could be off in that they just pass it off to a new showrunner. But really, I think the more logical explanation is the logical outcome is going to be we see a third season that concludes the story and they start a new series. Maybe call it a spin-off, but I don't see it going past 3 seasons. But again, speculation, that's the whole purpose of this little subsection. And that is what we got for the Rumor Mill, nerds. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.